Over the next 7 days, I'll be turning these 15 gray base plates into a giant build representing the Siege of Mandalore from Season 7 of the Clone Wars. I'll be working together with friends all day, every day, overcoming unexpected challenges and operating on minimal sleep to make this build as good as we possibly can in the limited time that we have. We'll be trying to capture some of the most recognizable moments from the Siege of Mandalore all in one build. Everything from the throne room battle between Maul and Ahsoka to the battle between the clone troopers and the Mandalorians with Captain Rex and Gar Saxon. Let's not waste any more time and get started with day 1. I started day 1 by picking up my friend Yako from the airport. He flew in from Colorado just for this project. Just as we got back to the house, our friend Alex came over and we got started by making this micro scale model so we have a plan to go off of. Next, we scaled everything up and marked it all out on the base plates. We'll be trying to include lots of scenes and references from the show, so our layout won't be 100% accurate, but it should have plenty of recognizable moments from the battle. The first thing we wanted to build was the main road where the majority of the battle will be taking place. We'll be basing this section on this scene from the show. I knew immediately that I wouldn't have enough tiles on hand in dark bluish gray to make a road this big, so we used 2x4 bricks on their sides and created a number of removable sections to add studs in later for minifigure posing. Things were going really well and we knocked this part out pretty quickly, but it wasn't long until we ran into a bit of an issue just shortly after we got started on the next section. We've been working on building this section here, and we've realized we are very short on filler bricks.
Right here, this bag is... We're completely out. We're completely out. We haven't even started this thing. We're out.
Referring back to the micro scale model here, there are a bunch of large skyscrapers toward the back of the build. We may have miscalculated the number of filler bricks needed to make something this big.
The only way to build at this height and efficiently is Duplo. It's the only way.
So how do we get Duplo? So for the quantity of bricks that we need, there are only like 4 stores in the country that have that many Duplo bricks, and one of them is in Cincinnati, and that's like 5 hours from here. The shipping cost to get things here within the time frame that we need them would be ridiculously expensive. So our best option is to see if we can convince the owner of this store to let us do an in-person pickup and go ahead with the 10-hour round trip.
It'd be a road trip and a half, though. I just don't know if you're the 2 people I'd want to spend that road trip with.
It'll be entertaining.
Are you filming me?
With the green light from the store, we hit the road feeling pretty good about the long day ahead, apart from the fact that we were willingly traveling to Ohio, a place that many people just generally prefer to avoid. We stopped at a local sandwich joint for a quick lunch break, drove a couple more hours, and before we knew it, we had arrived in Cincinnati. The first stop was HHH Brick Depot, which is a huge Lego resale store with tons of retired product and this awesome Red Star Destroyer. We managed to secure the Duplo, got loaded up, and then we headed to the Lego store in a nearby mall to grab some pick-a-brick. After spending way too much money, we went downtown for some dinner, and then we started our journey back to Grand Rapids. Of course, the one time I go to Ohio for anything, I managed to get pulled over by the police. The crazy part is that it wasn't even because of all the bricks we had in the trunk. So we got pulled over for speeding while I was trying to pass some people on the highway, and I've realized that at this point, I probably should have just shipped the Duplo, because the cost of my ticket is going to be the same price as the shipping would have been, so that's great. We unloaded the Duplo first thing in the morning and got straight into the cleaning process. Duplo is especially gross when you buy it used, so this was an ongoing project for the next day or 2. We decided to head over to Clone Army Customs to grab a few unique clone troopers for the build. The shop cats were very friendly and we ended up with quite a few customs between the 3 of us. I unpacked some of the pick-a-brick boxes from the day before, and then we moved on to building the entrance to the sewer where Vaughn goes down to his death. This section will be on the far left-hand side of the build. We built a curved wall with hinges and left an open spot for a gunship to land right by the elevator. After that, we started working on a courtyard that will be right next to the throne room. This building took a little bit of time to figure out with all the details we wanted to include. It uses panels to cover the gaps on the corners of the building, and we used snot building techniques to create the floor of the courtyard. This building definitely isn't very structurally sound, but it should work well enough to fill this space. We started day 4 by building the throne room where Maul and Ahsoka duel, which is going to be the centerpiece of the build. This is the most complicated structure to tackle, and we got pretty creative with our building techniques to add some cool shapes and angles. We also had to make considerations for all the lighting we wanted to include with the chandeliers and lightsabers. I'm using Light My Bricks LEDs and lightsabers for this build. I've been using their lighting components for the last year and a half in my builds, and I love their products. That's why I reached out to see if they would sponsor this video. If you're looking to add something extra to your builds, you should check out all of the awesome things they have to offer. The LED lightsabers are probably my favorite thing to add to my mocks, and they also have a power brick that can be easily hidden in your builds to keep everything looking nice and neat. Light My Bricks has been kind enough to offer a discount code for viewers of the channel, so you can use code FIREBIRD15 to get 15% off your next order. Just click the link in the pinned comment down below to head over and place your order. Thanks to Light My Bricks for sponsoring this video. The next building we wanted to work on was this large skyscraper. Our friend Alec came and joined us to help out, and we built the internal structure of the building with Duplo. Our plan is to use Technic brick plates on their sides to add all the exterior details. We headed to Bricks and Minifigs Grand Rapids first thing in the morning to grab as many relevant Mandalorians as we could find. While we were there, Yako and I managed to drop a ship that we were taking a look at. Shout out to Julia for giving me this security footage so I can relive this embarrassing moment whenever I want to. Next, we went to Meijer to load up on 3 32nd battle packs to fill out our clone army, and we headed back to the house to get everything unboxed. There are 3 standard troopers in each battle pack, so the numbers started to add up pretty quickly. I've been collecting super commandos for the past couple of months in preparation for this build, and I even borrowed a few from some of my friends. With everything lined up on the base plate ready to go, I'm so excited to get all of these figures placed, but we still have a ton of building to do, so let's get back to it. Our next focus is this area below the throne room. We built some large walls with LED lit windows to make a nice backdrop for the battle that will be taking place on the road. We added the outer wall for the buildings in the back of the layout, and then focused on adding filler brick. We had quite a few areas to fill in so that there can be sufficient structural support for the second layer of buildings that we'll need to get started on tomorrow. We started the day off with finishing up the filler work on the back of the build from yesterday. Yako built the roof for this building in the back where we'll be placing a crashed Mandalorian starfighter. After that, we added in the skyscraper from the other day and started attaching all of the detail panels. We spent quite a bit of time building these off camera, and I think they turned out really well given the simplicity of the technique we decided to go with. We capped the building off with a roof, and that's the end of day 6. I started the day off great by dropping this drawer of tiles on the floor. After I got it all picked up, I worked on putting together the internal structure of the buildings that will be in the very back of the layout. We'll be making a giant skyscraper with a bridge to connect these 2 buildings together. Yako and Charity worked on putting together a ton of panels while I tiled off the empty area below the buildings. We built even more panels, and then Yako joined me to work on the skyscrapers. The Duplo bricks really came in clutch here to help us get the height that we needed. We added all the panels to the sides of the buildings, and then we moved on to the final details. The throne room sat right in the center of the build just as we had planned. We placed the crashed Mandalorian starfighter, an ATTE, this custom dropship with ATTE that Yako brought along with him, and a custom M5 Builds gunship above the entrance of the Mandalorian sewers. Let's place all the minifigures and take a look at the final build. If you want to see a full in-depth walkthrough of this build, you can click on the end screen in just a moment here to go over and watch it on my brand new second channel. Either way, you should head over and subscribe because I've got some fun stuff coming very soon. If you want to see more mock content, you should also check out Yako and Alex's YouTube channels and give Alec a follow on Instagram. Otherwise, thanks for watching and I hope you have a good one.